Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, The Beautiful Stitches. I love you all and I'm glad you're here with me. I want to use this opportunity to thank all my subscribers. Thank you all for being there for me. I love you all. And if you're new to this channel, please, before leaving, check beneath the screen. You will see the subscribe button. Click on it and also touch the notification bell to always get notified anytime I upload my videos. Alright, today we are going to be learning how to cut a simple hospital protective gown. When I mean simple, it's very simple to cut and join together. Alright, let's get over to today's business. Okay, as you can see, my fabric is already unfolded. This is the front bodice and this is the back bodice, and I've already folded the 2 inches where I'll be placing my zipper. The zipper will be in front, so the 2 inches fold is for zipper allowance, and at the end I will cut through to fold 1 inch twice, then fix my zipper at the middle. Okay, so let's mark out our measurement on our fabric. This is our baseline. Remember, every measurement starts from the baseline. So we input our vertical measurement. My nipple point is 11, just the way I'm marking it out, and my waist is 17 inches, and my hips is 25 inches. Okay, all right, 25 inches is here. Let's mark it out. And the full length of this gown is 50 inches. Remember, it's a hospital gown, so it covers down to the knee. So it's 50 inches, and I'll be adding 3 inches folding. So let's mark it out, 50 inches and 3 inches folding at the hem of the gown. All right, let's draw it out into a straight line so that we can impute our horizontal measurements. All right, okay, we are imputing our lines. So we are going to impute our horizontal measurement now. My shoulder is 18 divided by 2 is 9. So let's impute our 3-inch standard neck measurement before we impute our shoulder. So my shoulder is 9. Then I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope and connect it down to the 3-inch neck standard measurement, just as I'm doing it. Okay, I'll connect. Know that the shoulder is not straight, it's sloping. So I'll connect the armhole now. Let's measure out the armhole. My armhole is 18. 18 divided by 2 is 9. Just as I'm marking it out, we draw it into a straight line. This now becomes the upper bust line where we'll be imputing our bust measurements. So let's draft out our armhole. Connect from the 1-inch shoulder line down to the upper bust line, just as I'm doing it. Locate the midpoint between the shoulder line and the upper bust. We have 4.5 as the midpoint. Then mark it out and come in by 1/2 inch. Okay, let's connect it. Use your curve ruler to connect from the 1-inch shoulder slope down to the midpoint at the armhole, just the way I'm doing it. I'll also place my curve ruler on the upper bust line and connect down to the midpoint. Then for the back armhole, I'll just place the curve and connect from the midpoint down to the upper bust line. All right, this is my back armhole, and my front armhole is also ready. So we'll impute our bust measurement at the upper bust line. My bust is 39 divided by 4. I have 9.75, which is 938. Okay, as you can see, I'm marking it out, 938. Remember, this is a loose gown, a free hospital gown, so I'll be marking out 2.5-inch seam allowance. I don't want it to be too tight on my client. Then the waist is 36. 36 divided by 4, we have 9. Okay, just as I'm marking it out, plus 2.5-inch seam allowance. Remember, it's a free gown. So let's go over to the hip. The hips is 48 inches. 48 divided by 4, we have 12 inches. So let's mark out 12 inches. Then also I'll be adding my 2.5 inches seam allowance at the hip. Let's go back to the hemline. At the hemline, I'll be using the same measurement for the hip at the hem, because I don't want it to be tight at the hem. I want it to be a free and straight gown. So what we have at the hip line will be the same measurement for the hem line. We have 14.5. Okay, so let's connect it down so that we can cut out our gown. Okay, I'll be connecting from the upper bust line down to the waistline, down to the hip line, and down to the hem line, just like as I'm doing it. Okay, remember, from the waist down to the hip is not really straight, so we have to draw it out carefully, making sure no end is sharp. We don't have any sharp or pointed end. So I'll be using my ruler to draw a straight line from the hips down to the hem of the gown. Remember, we are using the same measurement for the hips and for the lower part of the gown. Okay, all right. Okay, let's go over to the neck. For the standard neck measurement, we have 3 inches, but I'll be using 2.5 inches for my neck measurement. Okay, I'll measure out 2.5 inches, just like as I'm doing it. By the time I turn it over, I'll be having 3 inches. When I turn it over with 1/2 inch seam allowance. Then for the neck depth, I'll be measuring 3 inches. Okay, let me mark it out. Use your curve ruler to curve out the neck width and depth. Okay, that's my neckline, just like as I'm doing it now. Then for the back neckline, I'll be measuring out 1 inch from the back neckline, just like as I'm doing it. Okay, let me connect with my ruler. All right, you can see our gown is already taking shape. Okay, measure it out. This is our back neckline and our front neckline. So what we do now is to cut it out. We'll cut the back neckline first before we cut out the front neckline. So let's cut it out. Remember, you cut the both front and back bodies together while cutting the back neckline. Then for the front neckline, you raise up only the front bodies and cut the front neckline, just like as I'm doing it. Okay, as you can see, yeah, this is my front neckline and this is my back neckline. So what I'll do now is to add 1/2 inch at the shoulder line. Remember, we came down by 1 inch, so we'll add 1/2 inch down from the neckline down to the armhole region. That will be our that will be our new shoulder line. 1/2 inch seam allowance. So let's draw it out into a straight line and cut. Okay, just like as I'm doing it, you cut it out. Okay, as you can see, we are doing this so that our gown will not be too tight at the neck, and also it will not affect the hem of our gown. All right, our gown is taking shape. Next is to cut out my gown just like as I'm doing it now. Remember, you cut out the back armhole before the front armhole. You can see this is our front armhole. So what we do now is to raise the front bodice and cut out the back armhole just the way I'm doing it. Always be careful not to cut both the back bodies and the front bodies. All right, okay, yeah, as you can see, this is our front bodies and this is our back bodies. Our gown has taken shape. So what I'll do now is to remove the pins and cut through the 2 inches zipper allowance that I put there. Okay, so I'll cut from the neck down to the hem of the gown just the way I'm doing it. All right, we'll cut it out so that we can fix our zipper. Our gown is set, as you can see, very beautiful. So what we do now is to fold the 2 inches. We fold it 1 inch twice so that we can stitch from the neckline down to the hem of the gown, then attach our zipper just the way I'm doing it. You fold it 1 inch twice. Use your pin to hold it in position from the neck down to the hem of the gown. You do the same for the other side of the front bodice just the way I'm doing it. Pin it down, fold 1 inch twice, pin it down from the neck down to the hem of the gown. Stitch down from that corner and also stitch on the other part of the front bodice too. Then fix our zipper. Our zipper will be fixed in front of the gown. Okay, so let's go over to our sleeve. The sleeve for this gown is a long sleeve. For tutorial on how to draft out a sleeve pattern, check my description box. I'll drop the link below. Watch the full video to get a detailed understanding of how to draft out a sleeve and to get the cap height. So we start our measurement from the baseline. Measure out the cap's height, which is 4 inches. Okay, then from the baseline to the elbow is 14 inches. I'll mark out 14 inches. And the length of my sleeve is 25. Okay, then 1.5 inch folding allowance. Remember, I'll be putting an elastic at the end of the sleeve. So let's mark out the measurement on this other side of the sleeve so that we can have a straight line. Okay, 25 inches and 1.5 inches seam allowance. Let's draw it out into a straight line. Let's connect it. Okay, so as I said earlier, at the end of our long sleeve, we'll be attaching an elastic to hold it together, so it is not a very tight sleeve. All right, let's draw it out into a straight line and mark out our measurement on our fabric. All right, so what we do next is to impute our armhole measurement. Remember, our armhole is 18 divided by 2, we have 9, and we also added 2.5 inch seam allowance, so we'll be adding it also to this measurement. All right, so we'll draw a straight line right from the closed end of the sleeve down to the open end of the sleeve, just like as I'm doing it now. Mark a straight line, all right, to connect from the baseline to the cap's height. So we'll locate the midpoint of this line. We have 12.5, so the midpoint is going to be 6 1/4. I think 6 1/4, yes. So we'll mark it out and go up by ½ inch, just like as I'm doing it. Mark out ½ inch at the top, then connect with your curve ruler right down to the end of the sleeve measurement. Okay, also connect with your curve ruler to the open end of the sleeve, making sure the curve is okay. Then beneath the first curve, make another curve again from the midpoint down to the open sleeve too, just like as I'm doing it now. You can see this is the second curve. Then at the other end of the sleeve, just like as I'm doing it on my fabric now, you also make another small curve right close to the point where we marked out our armhole. Okay, so this is the front armhole and the upper part is the back armhole. Let's impute our horizontal measurement. The elbow is 13 divided by 2, we have 6.5 plus 1.5 inch seam allowance. I won't be using 2.5 inch for the sleeve, so I'm using 1.5 inch sleeve sewing allowance. Remember, it's a loose sleeve and a loose gown, so we don't want anything tight. Okay, the wrist is 10 divided by 2, we have 5 plus 1.5 inch seam allowance, we have 6.5. We also measure the same thing for the folding allowance, just as I'm doing it. All right, so we connect from this end down to the wrist, just the way I'm doing it. All right, so connect down to the elbow from the armhole point, connect down to the elbow and down to the wrist. Okay, all right, you can see our sleeve has already taken shape. It's looking very beautiful. So what I'll do next is to go out by ½ inch on the folding line and connect down to the wrist line, so that when I'll be folding my wrist, I'll not run short of fabric. Okay, let's cut. As you can see, all right, my sleeve has already taken a very beautiful shape. You can see that's the front armhole and the back armhole. So what I'll do is to spread it out and cut out the front armhole. All right, let's spread out the sleeves and cut it out. Here is my sleeve, so I'll follow this lower curve and cut out the front armhole, just the way I'm doing it. All right, I'll cut gently, making sure I follow the curve just the way I'm doing it, gently. All right, here we are. Our front armhole is ready. Yeah, I'll make a little notch at the mid of the sleeve, okay, so that when I'll attach it to my main bodice, I'll place it directly on the sewing where I join the front bodice and the back bodice. Okay, right now we'll be cutting out the deep pocket that will be in front. My fabric is on fold, so I'll be measuring 12 by 10 inches. So this is 12 inches, right, and also 12 inches so that I can draw it out into a straight line. Make sure your measurement is accurate. And also 10 inches. By the time I fold the upper part of the pocket, 1.5 inches, and so before attaching it, I'll be having 9.5 inches or thereabouts. Then I also fold the sides. So let's connect and cut. Let's cut it out. As you can see, my pocket is ready for use. So what I'll do is to fold this upper part. This is where our hand be going to stitch through and fold the sides by ½ inch, just like I said earlier. Yeah, and place it on our gown. Then I'll be cutting out a small pocket where I'll be fixing our pen. So I'll be marking out 2.5 by 8 inches. Okay, let me draw a straight line first. Then I'll mark out my 8 inches on that line, just like the way I'm marking it now. 8 inches. Okay, then I'll mark out 2.5 inches. Remember, this is a pocket for pen, so this pocket can accommodate at least 2 pens. All right, 2.5 inches, and connect it into a straight line. Let's connect it before cutting. All right, our pocket is already coming out good and beautiful, so let's cut it out. Remember, the same way we folded the deep front pocket, that is how we also fold the pocket for pen before attaching it to our front bodies. We'll be attaching it at the upper part of the front bodies, at the chest region. Okay, so what we do is we measure out, we come up by 2 inches from the nipple line and attach this pocket. All right,